This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Bixon. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman. How are you doing, Mike North? Look at you dancing to the music and looking so good this morning. How are you, brother?
The hair looks absolutely fantastic today. No, it's not a hairpiece, ladies and gentlemen. Although I noticed a bald spot near the back the other day, so I've covered it up cleverly. It's really on the side. Who has a bald spot on the side of their head? Only I would have a bald spot on the side of my head. But Aldo, it's great to see you. You're no worse for wear for the heavy load that you've been carrying here at Bears Barroom. Win Daily Sports has signed up with us for another long tenure, if you will. We're happy about that.
Yes.
Funds the show, funds things for us. Like I said, in about 2 weeks, we'll have a big announcement to make also. Hopefully it will be involving them and other things too. I just love what's going on right now. There seems to be a lot of things to talk about. A lot of things to make up. It's a fantasy world that we're living in right now. We know what's going to happen in week 8 of the NFL now. Forget about injuries, wind conditions, rain, maybe COVID coming back. I mean, forget about all that. This is what's going to happen on week 8 of the National Football League. And I saw this morning, we'll pick up 2 of the big games, pick them out. The 2 biggest games of week 8. Week 8. Wait a minute. Week 8. Week 8. And then week 6, what was the big game? And I'm proud of Sylvie. The guy Sylvie, for a lot of reasons. But he has some great Twitter questions, if you will. And he asked a question yesterday, excuse me. He said, and this was great. Murph says, I got a bald spot in my entire head. I understand. I'm the guy that doesn't get dessert, but I eat a full meal and I'm still crying. I get it. Yeah, exactly. Now, all I'm going to tell everybody is that Sylvie had a great poll out yesterday, and it said about the schedule of the NFL. Do you like hearing about it? Do you like debating it? Do you like talking about it? And for the first time ever, I think even he was shocked, because I know I wasn't.
Right.
51% said we don't need to hear about what's going on in week 10 or week 6 or week 7. 51%. Yet I guarantee you 80% of the talk shows in this country did their full shows on it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah.
Yeah, right? Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right.
And to me, and this is what I used to hate when I worked middays, if somebody's already done it for 3 hours, and we kept our listeners on that station back in the day, then you're hearing it for maybe another 4 hours. And then maybe after that, with McNeil and Boers, another 4 hours back in the day, or even now. But no. We were too smart for that. We would do a segment on it. We'd go, Bears, schedule. Bears against Green Bay, loss. Bears against Atlanta, win. Jiggs and I did that every year. But we did not do a 4-hour show. When there was the NBA, Major League Baseball, all sorts of stuff going on around. Not the whole show. And that's my only gripe about that. Programmers thinking, or show hosts thinking, because it's the NFL, that everybody's just going to go along with it 80 to 90% of the time. And it doesn't work that way all the time.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I want to thank Mule for saying some really nice words about the Barroom Network. He says that we are putting out great, awesome programming. And so thank you, Mule, and everyone else that listens to our programs either live or on demand. And we're just very, very fortunate to be led by Mike North. Okay. He is the king of Chicago and national sports talk. I mean, this guy is a legend in the business, and to be associated with him is a blessing for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mike, so you're not a fan of all the hoopla regarding the NFL schedule, but I got to ask you, week 1, LA Rams, Sunday night, national football, does that tickle your bottom at all?
Absolutely. And week 1, we could talk about maybe.
Yeah, right.
Even though it's 4 months away. But I mean, I'm hearing people say they want to see Justin Fields start week 1. Has everybody lost their mind? Against the Rams. Let me say this again. You want to bring in this kid week 1. And this is where 70% of the Bear fan base, 70, used to be 40, used to be 30, used to be 20%. Right. That would fall off the rails before the season even started. You want to tell Andy Dalton you're sitting to play Justin Fields, who might be the 3rd quarterback at that time, and ruin him right off the bat. Phenomenal. He's a quarterback that dropped for reasons, folks. I'm not here to hate on Justin Fields. I hope this kid is as dynamic as anybody. Eldo knows that. If I didn't like him, Eldo would know it. If I thought basically we could have gone with somebody else, but I'm not a hater on this kid. I want him to come through. But you don't want him to come through when they want him to play week 1. Dan Orlovsky, the man who thought Nick Foles should start ahead of Trubisky.
I saw that, yeah.
All right? Nonsense. Knock off the nonsense. Because I think there's stuff that Dan did, Orlovsky did as a backup quarterback that's better than what Justin Fields can do. Maybe Justin Fields has to learn how to read. Let him give the kid a shot. Give him a chance. Don't throw him in against Aaron Donald. Please, dear Lord, against that Ram. Don't do it. That's all I'm saying. Let's see what Dalton does. And I'm sure at 2-1, we'll be 2-1. He'll throw an interception, and Fields will be in against the Las Vegas Raiders in week 4.
Right. Sean Desai, the Bears' new defensive coordinator, met with the media yesterday. And one of the things he said that he likes about the Bears is that they've got a lot of returning players and they know and communicate with each other well. And so that's why he has high hopes that the defense is going to play well. Well, that goes even for the Rams. I mean, they're bringing back everybody on the defensive side. And so Justin Fields, a rookie, going against those veterans who communicate well and so forth would be a really tall order.
It would. Here's my thing. I'm willing to give Dalton the chance. Trubisky's gone. Mitch is going to do well. In the next 5 years, I'm predicting he'll do real well. I don't care what happened this year. His name was stained and tarnished. And yet, if Justin Fields has a 29-21 record, throws for over 10,000 yards, throws 65, 66 touchdowns to 30 interceptions, and is the highest rated Bear quarterback of all time, rated 87, 88, like Trubisky, they'll rename Michigan Avenue Justin Fields Avenue. And I'll go, well, wait a minute, he's got the same, but this guy, I mean, that's just the way it is. And I'm telling you, just give the kid a shot. Just give him a chance. And I got to tell you, he's showing up early to minicamp, okay?
That's nice.
Which is fine. But if Trevor Lawrence was our pick and he wanted to show up in week 2 of the preseason, I'd be fine too. I mean, I heard people say that Justin Fields is equal to Trevor Lawrence. I want any Bear fan to tell me they would take Justin Fields if they had the number 1 pick over him. Just tell me that. Tell me that, and then I'll know that it's the bridge on the River Kwai when it blew up and the train went into the water. Just tell me that one time. I don't care what Trevor Lawrence does. Just tell me that. Yeah, remember when Alec Guinness fell on the
Oh yeah. Great movie.
I want Bear fans out there to tell me if you had Trevor Lawrence looking at you or Justin Field. I want them to tell me. I start stuttering when I want them to tell me they take the field over the kid, the other kid. Wow, that kid's a stud.
Oh, God.
I don't care if you could play or not. Look, Tim Couch looked like a stud. Ryan Leaf looked like a stud.
That's right.
Okay, so I understand. He could fall on his face too. He's got less weapons than the Bears. I mean, look, you're him and you come over to Jacksonville and they go, you hear the news? Tim Tebow signing with us. That's the first thing you hear? Oh, and we hired a racist trainer. Oh, we had to get rid of him. Urban Meyer is holding on to the past. He's trying to recall his college days. I wouldn't even waste a roster spot on Tim Tebow, and I love Tim Tebow. But that's not telling the fan base you're going in the right direction by playing them at tight end. Now, what would be a great story is if Tim Tebow catches 60 balls.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. And I'm not against him trying. But there's no doubt if Urban Meyer isn't hired, Tim Tebow never sniffs the NFL this year.
Absolutely not. This is a relationship signing. He likes the kid a lot.
So much for me. Thank you.
Yeah. So and a lot of the players are not real happy about it. There's been some of the players have gone to social media and have said things that can be construed as this is not a good thing. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Jacksonville's players.
That's right.
They're the ones that jump out of the plane without the chute, but they still hope they hit a canopy. I mean, seriously. It's Jacksonville. I mean, it's not the 49ers. It's not even Washington. It's not even the Bears. It's Jacksonville going, man, this ain't good. Not in no way, shape, and form is this good. The man was hitting 198 last year.
The factor wants to know.
I was doing one of the defensive players.
Of course.
Yeah. This ain't good.
The factor wants to know, what do you think about Justin Fields? You think he's going to be a success in the NFL? Uh-oh.
Well, here's the problem. He dropped. And now we're hearing even more. Belichick was never even going to sniff at him. And that worries me because Saban probably tried to talk Belichick and McElroy. I mean, Nick Saban is best friends with Bill Belichick. So every Alabama quarterback that comes out, Belichick calls him. Now, did he try to talk Belichick into taking McElroy? Did he try to talk him into taking other Alabama quarterbacks at the past? That all look good. All look good. Yet when I watched this guy this year, and I hear his receivers swear by him that he threw like this in practice. And then he calls up Saban. And this time Saban convinces him that this is the guy. You think he's better than this guy? Oh, yeah. Do you think he's better than that guy? Oh, yeah. But here's the key. I know this happened. Do you think he's better than Justin Fields? Yes. He's ready. Now, when I say he's ready, we heard Cade McNown was ready. And it was Donovan McNabb, who people didn't think was ready that year, and he was ready. So that means nothing. But Nick Saban's words to me, and the fact that the nonsense I've been hearing that they were going to take Fields over, there's no proof of that. None. He took this guy Mac Jones.
Yeah, right.
And they're happy with that. So I think he's 50-50, but I think the rest of the quarterbacks could fail. All of them.
I totally agree. I really love this quarterback class. Those 5 guys that were selected in their first round, but I also believe that any one of them could be a huge monumental failure because this is the NFL. We've seen guys who have come with great pedigrees into the NFL and they have failed. So anything can happen. And who knows, maybe one of those 3rd or 4th round guys like Davis Mills out of Stanford, maybe he becomes the best quarterback out of the whole class. We just never know about this.
That's a great point, Aldo. And I'll say this to everybody. I hear great quarterback class. There's one guy that was a for sure. Everybody else, I think, is up for grabs, including the guy that's for sure. But I will never compare this class to the class of Elway and Marino and Kelly, because I'll tell you this. We all knew they were going to be good. All of them. All of them. There's more. There's like 5, 6 guys. They were all good.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it. This is not a great quarterback class. This is the most hyped up with 1 lead dog. And then 4, please, don't be false hope. Come through. That's what it is.
Mike Q from Cincy says, what game are you looking forward to this season? Now that you know the schedule, is there
I'm
a game?
looking forward to game 13. I'm going to be irregular. I might be. I mean, I got my COVID shot the other day. I might have a twitch by then. I went for my COVID shot. Me and B. You want to know? I'm not afraid of, you know me. I'm not afraid of too many things. I'm afraid of, I'm not. I don't care. I just go, and this is how you survive when you live in Chicago. And
that's right.
I mean, my God. I mean, by the time I was 22, I had as many fights as Holyfield had by the time I was 22. And I didn't have a winning record.
Did you bite anybody's ear off, Mike?
I mean, no. What were we talking about? I lost my train of thought.
You said you got your COVID shot.
COVID. Listen, that's another thing. Loss of memory could be a problem.
Tell me about it.
Right. So I got my bandage on, and I was thinking of taking, like my girl Amy Jacobson did. Everybody pulls it up like this way. But Amy, she did it this way because Amy can.
Yeah, right.
But then I read where people don't like, they get tired of pictures of people getting the shot.
Right.
But it was my cowardice in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
BB says, I'm going to take the shot, but you do what you want. That's how B is.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people that haven't gotten it yet. A lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that have only gotten, I don't get this one, the 1 shot, but not the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell B, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm completely healthy. I don't have any pre-existing conditions. Don't ask me how I've been healthy. I've never, basically, I played all the major sports through all the way till I was in my 40s. And, I don't care what Sandlot level, the level I played in, no injuries, anything else. So I'm going to go in and let some National Guardsmen shoot me up. Okay? So then, there goes B. We walk in, and we were in Crystal Lake. And BB says, well, I'm going to take it. And, I respect that.
Sure.
And then my doctor tells me, well, maybe if you both get tired, maybe you can wait a couple weeks, but you should probably go get it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know of people that are getting it.
Right.
Well, that's all I had to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So B goes in there. I'm weighing. She goes up to the desk. She goes, yes, I'm here for my test. She goes, where's your husband? She turns around. I'm like 40 feet away waving. So she says, I don't think he's ready yet. And then it hit me. BB's going to go get it, but I'm not going to get it.
March right over, huh?
Right? National Guard guy couldn't be nicer guys. Couldn't be nicer guys. Start talking about when I was in the Army. Told them I was drafted. Mm-hmm. They went, in what year? I go, 72. They went, Nam? I go, yeah. But I didn't have to go. I had a good time, I told them. But I appreciate everything you guys do. Okay, you ready, Mike? Boom. Okay? They took my pictures of my paperwork.
Right.
There's no doubt that I probably got a shot, but I have a microchip in my body somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, North is now walking across the living room. Now he's gone. I think he's been in the bathroom quite a bit. Yeah. I had and BB and I get up the next day, knock on wood, we feel good. Now, if I have a horn growing out of my head in 2 months.
Yeah.
But it was the Johnson 1 shot.
Yeah, so, that's the nice thing about the Johnson & Johnson. Chris Watts over across the pond says he had a terrible reaction to his shot. Took him over a week.
That's what I was afraid of. Yeah. The COVID, to me, I've been a big fan. Mm-hmm. I mean, not of the COVID, but of the quarantine. Mm-hmm. I don't have to. We don't have to go to funerals. We don't have to go to weddings. We don't have to. For close people, we miss them. Right. Hey, when are you coming over? Never. We can say that now. You have your shot. When are we going to get together for dinner? Maybe in 2026. And I hear people say, you got the shot? Yeah, you better mask up. I'm going, wait a minute.
That is the weird thing.
So we'll see what happens. But I feel good. But I haven't, knock on wood, been sick. So it's hard for somebody who's not sick,
Yeah.
who's got no pre-existing, to walk in and go, shoot me up with that stuff.
That's
But I did it.
You're absolutely right. It is something.
You
Great
went for yours, right?
Yeah, I got the Pfizer, so I went twice, and I did not have any ill
Good.
effects. My wife had the Moderna, and that's a 2-shot process. The second shot just knocked her out for almost a week. So
Well, I got to ask you, why are people blowing off the second shot?
yeah, there's a lot.
38% are blowing off the second shot, I read. 38%? You went and got, but it's a pain in the ass. I mean, that's what it is. They don't want to feel, I feel okay. Maybe the one shot's good enough. So
Yeah,
we'll see
right.
what happens.
Exactly.
God bless.
Before we get off the topic of football, I want to ask a question. It's actually a question that was posted on the chat. It's from Chris. He says, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, do you think the Bears sweep the Packers? And even a bigger picture, what do you make of this whole Aaron Rodgers mess? And I mean, I the one thing that bothers me the most is that they're talking about it every freaking day on sports radio, TV, radio, you name it.
They were doing week 8 of the schedule today, too.
Yeah, exactly. So, but what do you think about Aaron Rodgers? I mean, I think it would be a great boon for the Chicago Bears if they don't play Aaron Rodgers. But at the same time, I would love for the Bears to beat the crap out of Rodgers.
I love how everybody pretends that Russell Wilson never was going to happen and that everybody was saying it could happen. And if it did happen and we got him for 3 years, we're winning the division maybe anyway. I don't understand. But I have people telling me they'd rather have Justin Fields than Russell Wilson. I mean, that's just insane, especially if Aaron Rodgers leaves. But not what everybody's not telling you about the Aaron Rodgers thing is he can lose up to $20 million with bonus things and with other deals.
That's
$20 million, bonus money and other things like penalties and stuff like that. So I think he's coming back. I'm thinking he's coming back, but I find it amazing that we're hoping that a 37-year-old quarterback leaves, but we wouldn't be interested in Russell Wilson at 32. Their fans have gone off the rails because Russell Wilson's the one guy, and Elder will tell you this. I would be willing to give up 4 or 5 guys for him because we're going to be in the playoffs. And anybody that thinks Seattle's going to have a tough time next year, they're one of my favorites to go all the way again because of their quarterback. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers, if the Bears had Russell Wilson and he stays with the Packers, there's no cakewalk anymore. There's no cakewalk.
Yep.
And the whole defense and the whole team plays better automatically.
Bearstown 19 says the Rodgers is coming back. He doesn't trust the rumors, and it's hard to believe any of the rumors going on now. And by the way, I gotta ask you what your opinion is of this. Adam Schefter shares this news on draft day, but it's not new news. It's news that he's collected over the last 2 or 3 weeks. But on draft day, he decides to bundle up all this information and say Aaron Rodgers has told the team that he's not coming back. Well, why couldn't you have reported that days ago?
Because he wanted to be the story. I mean, I have nothing against the guy. He's got to come up with this. He gets pressure. You are one of these high-paid reporters. You got to come up. They expect you to come up. What he did stole the thunder from the kids. Period. He can try to state it any way he wants. I wasn't born yesterday. I mean, you know what? He put together a collaboration. He finished the song on draft day and decided to release it. Okay? And it took away from all the other acts and for a big day for the kids. That's just my opinion.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. It really irritated me.
Sort of me too, but
yeah, and I think it irritated Dan Patrick. He had Adam Schefter on, and he knew that Schefter did this, but he's asking in kind of an innocent way. So you know, blah blah blah, and he really made Schefter look like an idiot in that interview. And for years, I've liked Adam Schefter. He's a hardworking guy. He breaks stories and so forth. I'm not sure why he needed to take the attention away from these young kids who were having the biggest day of their lives. You know, being drafted by the NFL.
The first thing I did was blame Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did was blame Rodgers like Rodgers talked it. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I let him have it. And I said, how selfish. But then the guy has problems with his family. I told Bibi. I go, you don't know a lot about this guy. He's not the nicest guy in the world. He thinks he's above it all. Oh, I host Jeopardy. So can I. I'll host Jeopardy tomorrow. I may do it differently. Trebek used to say, oh, I'm sorry. He knew the answer. I'm sorry. You should have known. No, I'd say, hey, dumbass. Number 14 for the Cubs was Ernie Banks. Anybody knows that. And then I'd be off the air. But, I mean, basically, Trebek did that in a classy way, would insult some of the contestants, and he's an icon. No, Alan Rudden's an icon. Password. Come on. You want me to start rattling off talk show? You want me to TV game show host? Art Fleming is an icon. Look him up. And Alex Trebek was good. But I didn't watch it. They asked me tough questions.
Listen, you people out there who produce game shows, if you're not going to hire Mike North to do a game show now, after that
Good idea. Who's the dumbass here? That's the name of my new show. It would be like Jeopardy, only it'd be easy questions. Who's the dumbass here? With Mike North every night, 7 o'clock, ABC.
That's perfect. That is perfect, man.
I mean, I was told I couldn't announce baseball. Okay? I had already been no, you didn't like the way I would announce baseball because you heard me do DePaul games, you heard me do the Chicago Rush games, where I'd actually call out the players. I remember Jerry Reinsdorf telling me, well, you've never announced before. I go, I do 4 hours a day. Well, I've been doing this for 30 years, but you don't think I can announce a baseball game? I said, okay, fine. Then he goes and hires a guy that was mowing his Little League lawn as his manager, Robin Ventura, who never managed before. So it depends who you're in with and who you're not.
Ravi says that you are his guy, and thanks for joining us, Ravi, live.
Thanks, Ravi.
We got a lot of people in the chat room, and they've got all sorts of questions for you. But I want to turn our attention now to baseball. What do you think about the Cubs and the White Sox? Give me your assessment on both Chicago baseball teams.
Just keep drinking in the room, Tony. Just keep drinking in the room. Order up. Don't leave. You're too good. They all want you to fail. You put me in a bad spot a couple of times. Last week, I forget what he did. He mismanaged. He mismanaged. I have to take heat from my own company, that I work for, Aldo. I got to take heat from Bears Barroom. I'll tell you what, I knew it. I disagree with North. And then they rattle off 6 wins in a row. And it goes away.
That is absolutely true.
It goes away. And you know what? The NFL schedule for the La Russa Bashers, which makes up 90% of the media in this town, couldn't have come at a better time because they wouldn't know a major league manager if he walked up to him. The man is ahead of the game. The man knows what lineups to put together. The man has lost his all-star catcher. He's lost 2 outfielders, the left fielder and center fielder. He is the franchise. There's no Tony La Russa's the franchise of this baseball team. Anybody that thought Eloy was, here's a guy that was saying he's going to win MVP. So we lost an MVP type player, plus a guy hitting 305 in center, Eloy and Lewis Robert.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We lose McCann, who goes to New York. And we're rattling off win after win. So I want the Tony La Russa haters, who are the same as the Trubisky haters, same people, who are the same haters that you'll read for a lot of things that look obvious. Go away. White Sox fans, really. And, I didn't think this rebuild was going to work.
Uh-huh.
When I said the rebuild was going to work is when they got rid of McCann.
Right.
All right.
Right.
But Hahn has done a better job than I ever even imagined. I'll give him that. If this is Hahn doing this, it's not Kenny Williams.
Right.
Kenny Williams isn't this good. It's not. No, it's not. I always thought Hahn had to take orders. I'm sure Hahn suggests it. To me, what Keuchel has done, when I said the rebuild wasn't going to work big time 2 years ago, they didn't have Keuchel. They didn't have Lance Lynn. But more importantly, they didn't have Tony La Russa. You're allowed to change your mind. Now, do I think the rebuild's going to work where they win the World Series? That's up to them. But Minnesota stinks. I mean, they're playing the Sox again today, and I'm sure there's people out there that think the Sox are going to lose to them today. Again, like they've been thinking the last couple of days. Minnesota, I said, was fat, lazy. I think Rocco Baldelli, who 2 weeks ago had to pull a pitcher because he made a mound visit for the second time after he brought out his coach. It was a long inning, had gone out originally. He forgot, and he's a young guy. But Tony La Russa, any mistake he makes, he'll get called out. Baldelli should probably be fired, the first coach fired, manager. Minnesota's underperforming. Now, Cleveland, they've won 12 of 15. That's another manager that you don't mess with. Terry Francona. Right. I didn't think that the White Sox would be rattling off this many wins, but I didn't think Cleveland, after losing Trevor Bauer and other players, Lindor, who's miserable in New York, like a lot of people, including McCann, although McCann's hitting as good as our catchers. I didn't think it was going to work out, and it's working out. So I think the White Sox, if Cleveland hits the skids, and it won't, they got Bieber. They got their kid. He's like the stopper.
Yep. But
the White Sox, Giolito's the pitcher that you worry about more than Lynn and the other guys.
Right.
I think that Kopech, I lost patience waiting for him, and he's proven me wrong there. So things are coming into place, and you got to give the White Sox a sluggish chance, because to all the La Russa haters out there, you look stupid, and you're quiet. So shut up, go away, and let the season play out.
I'm not a La Russa hater. I am just skeptical of whether he is still at the top of his game. The White Sox right now are 21-13. That's a .618 winning percentage. It's the best in the American League.
And how about the run differential? They're plus 59, easily number one in baseball, which is unbelievable without two of your biggest sluggers.
Yeah, but I got a feeling, Mike, that if you were managing the White Sox, they would be better than 21-13. Oh. They would probably be 31-3 or whatever. That you would do a better job than Tony La Russa, in my opinion.
I would have done a better job than Ventura. I just think La Russa is a Hall of Fame manager he didn't know that rule. But I'll tell you this: I remember when Dusty Baker didn't know the double switch, and he was a Cub manager. I gave him hell. Just like I gave La Russa hell for doing that. I'm standing up for you. You don't know the rule?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody thought I was going to come up with an excuse. I don't play that.
Yeah.
I'll still believe in you. But you got – and then what about the coaching staff? And I heard Ozzie and I heard Frank excusing it, and good for Chuck Garfien that night for going, you got to know the rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the best way to do things.
Yeah.
It keeps everybody employed.
It does. Yes,
nobody understands that. Another point of view instead of Bears are going to win 13 games with Justin Fields, and that's the only take you get, you're not going to make it.
That's good. That's good. Mike, Ravi wants to know your opinion on this runner on second base in the extra innings. He doesn't like it. He doesn't feel like it's baseball. He says he would rather have a tie. Now, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I've heard you say before that you hate this rule.
I hate the rule, and I was glad to hear Greg Gumbel talk about it. Which first, and he really blasted baseball, which then I checked and I found he didn't work for baseball.
That's usually the way it works, right?
I want to know the last time Greg Gumbel took off on the NFL. That's what I want to know. As he enters his 75th year, he's a 75-year-old man.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but Greg, I remember Greg, and here's what I like about Greg. Okay, you're not doing baseball, so tell us your true feeling, because maybe somebody might want you to do baseball someday, and they may remember this, and they may say, we're not hiring them. So it was good to hear him say, collisions are out, they should be in. Taking the guy out at second should be in. I've never heard one person complain, except in the 15th inning, this game's now taking long, about the longevity of games. It's the media, and this is me, who wants to get out of there, that do it every night. And that's why they're trying to change the game. I think the game's horrible right now. It's watchable. But, I mean, the netting the other night, there's a guy waiting for a foul ball that, in previous years would reach into the stand right here and catch it like this. To hit the net as it's about to. It's nonsense. Down the line, I mean, I could see past the dugout, maybe have a higher deal, but all the way down the line, you got to be kidding me. So the replay has killed managerial arguments. I mean, managerial arguments are the best.
Yeah. I mean,
and they used to wake up the crowd, and the crowd would get yelled. It'd be like a hockey fight. They took that out, so it's crazy.
It is crazy. And there have been a lot of rule proposals now because
they're making the bases bigger.
Yeah. What do you think about the idea? One rule that was thrown out is that they need to move the pitcher's mound back from the 60 feet 6 inches, and then now Mule is saying lower the mound. The mound used to be twice as high as it is now,
and they didn't strike out half as much.
Right?
The players. I mean, Joe DiMaggio struck out one year 39 times. 39 times. Nellie Fox. These guys put bat on ball back then. These guys. If I hear launch level and velocity, exit velocity. All these media squares, and I'll put the White Sox announcers as the main ones, okay? And the Cubs, and everybody. That exit velocity was 112. I don't give a rat's ass. It counts for one.
Exactly.
Rod Carew never hit a ball over 70 miles an hour, I don't think.
That's right.
Rod Carew would hit choppers, he'd bunt, he'd hit bloopers, he'd put the bat on the ball, go over to first base. That exit velocity, but it doesn't sound cool. That was a 42-mile-an-hour bloop hit that scored 2 runs. We can't have that. You have everybody swinging for the fences. And if you move the mound or lower it, they'll still strike out as many times. The art of being ashamed. If you struck out in Little League, you used to be ashamed. I played at Thillins in front of big crowds. It's a Little League that used to be huge in Chicago. And if you struck out with your parents in the stands, you almost started crying walking back to the dugout. Now these guys hold their head up. I'll get another chance. I mean, the game of baseball right now is in the worst condition it's ever been in, and I still love the game.
King Pookie Nation's got a weird question. He wants to know, are you locked in your house? I mean, what is going on here? Hopefully he doesn't know where you live. It sounds like he's staking you out to see when you're going to leave or something. Are you locked in your house?
No, because I never leave this office, it seems like. I'm like you with that thing.
That's probably it.
You're doing a knock on my door. I moved out of the city. Okay.
You're doing all sorts of stuff besides your great work on ESPN every Friday night with Carmen DeFalco on The Odds Couple. You are also now doing a daily show called Bet Like Mike show on Win Daily Sports Twitter page. Tell us about the show. What is it all about? And how'd you come up with this clever title? Really cool.
Right. Here's what's cool. I have a show called The Odds Couple. And the man that gave me the name of that show is by a guy I've been friends with, as Aldo knows, for 30 years. I remember walking into his office trying to get a job back in the day, even before 92. He worked for a guy named Divine, syndicated radio. And he met with me. He was a major guy then, as far as he was running this network. He said, maybe down the line, blah, blah, blah. Well, what happened is Jeff Schwartz then got hired at the Score after I made it. So maybe down the line became, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Score, But he was always respectful, and I always liked him. He's a manager that thought outside the box. So he's been involved with Barroom on some things, but I've been friends with him, and he got this gig for me because this person had been bugging him for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
But the money wasn't good enough. I said, I need this, I need that, and went for 9 months, just like my ESPN thing. And finally, I came to a compromise. Why don't we do a 20-minute show? Because sometimes, if you're doing it every day, nobody's going to sit through an hour.
Yeah.
Nobody. I said, let's do a 20-minute show. I do an hour show on Barroom. I do an hour show on The Odds Couple on ESPN. because it's once a week. Okay, that's fine. It's like Bonanza. You know what I mean? When you were a kid, you wait. It's like you got that one thing, which has worked great for us and worked great at ESPN with Carmen and them. But every day, I do the first 15 minutes on Win Daily, which is going to be today at 11 o'clock, probably. Yeah, around at 11, and then it will go to 11:20. I can't have people waiting 45 minutes for their picks. Now, the pick segment for us is we could do it anytime, but it's once a week. And and you know what? It's no big deal. But if you keep making people wait an hour, plus it's one of those deals where sometimes you can't cut in. Like some you can cut into, hey, my picks are the 20th minute of the show. Well, this format makes it tougher. So 20 minutes. I was 3-0 last night. My guy John Jansen, I had a great night. I had Detroit. I had the puck line with Montreal, 1.5. They lost by 1. I had the Blues, and they beat Minnesota. And I have a great game. I have a great game for us coming up in about 15 minutes. But that's how I did it. And I want to thank Jason and everybody out there. And it's been fun. It's been lucrative. But it all started here at the Barroom.
Well,
it all started with the Barroom. I know beforehand, I used to have people tell me, get into podcasting.
Yeah.
I used to go, what's podcasting? You know who gets into podcasting? People that want to do more. Stations are doing it now. So there's like competition now. And there's competition for money. And where are you going to get the best bang for your buck? And Win Daily said, we're going to get the best bang for our buck by having our own show, but also being on Bears Barroom.
Yep. Wayward Trucker says that he moved out of Chicagoland and he misses the attitude of Mike North. And Mike, it is so true that you have over the years brought a Chicago attitude to sports radio and regular talk radio, and now video and broadcasting and so forth that exemplifies Chicago. I mean, that has been your gift to you've shown executives you don't need to be the polished, Bill Curtis. God bless Bill Curtis. He's got his accolades and he deserves all of those. But Mike North brings Chicago to Chicago radio.
I never had to lie on the air because I would never be able to keep track. I knew there are talk show hosts. I know a couple that have shadow accounts on Twitter. Okay. And I know that Twitter, I mean, I worked at Fox. People say, well, where'd you get your following? Well, it doesn't matter where I got it. I don't keep score. Twitter does. But I know that I worked for Fox for 6 years at 220 markets. So that's only like, for what I got, 2,000 people a market, 3,000 people a market. I mean, I worked in L.A. My show was on in the morning in Boston. It was on in the morning all over the place. So I always have this saying, if somebody says you suck and this and that, and I thank you, Meter Scott. Bingo. He listened to the show. My guy John Jansen took the Sox last night. I always tell people I was big before Twitter. But Twitter only keeps you alive. You know what I mean? Keeps your career going if you want. I have no pressures. I do a 20-minute show daily. That's nothing. I mean, that's one segment back in radio. But I notice our numbers are very good. So, and just like our numbers last week for this show, we're off the charts. With Justin Fields does create a buzz. I do know that. But people don't know what I'm going to say. And that's the difference. If you're a windsock or if you can sort of predict what somebody's going to say, they're going to lose our audience. And people didn't know where I was going with the Justin Field. I think you were even surprised. I'm willing to give the kid a chance because I don't know how he's going to be. But the nonsense that he comes from Ohio State and they're not held accountable, but the Bears can't develop a quarterback and they are? Why are the Bears held accountable? Well, because Ohio State doesn't get them ready for the pros. Oh, they don't? Dwayne Haskins was told, you go to Ohio State and play quarterback. You'll only play for us? No, we'll get you drafted. And by the way, Dwayne Haskins dove from pick 4 last year to pick 15. And you know what everybody said? What a steal! Very so excited. And Dwayne Haskins plays for the Steelers. I think it was a couple of years ago. Now he's on the Steelers, period.
Bearstown 19 show says he grew up listening to you and you inspired him to do radio and shows on YouTube. And we'll check your show out there, Bearstown.
Everybody, yeah, we'll check. And I do follow, I think I follow Bearstown. If I don't, I will. But I will tell you this, that everybody followed somebody. I followed Wally Phillips. I followed guys like Larry Lujak, Steve Dahl. But I didn't follow many sports guys. I followed Kopic. That was it. The rest of them, they're vanilla, and nothing's changed that much.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That is true. All right, let us talk now about the Chicago Blackhawks. Their season is over. They did not make the playoffs for the second straight season. Are you worried that the Blackhawks are now in a long tailspin, just like they were when it's funny because the stadium used to be empty before the pandemic and before
I went to a Vancouver game back in the day. There was 5,000 fans.
Exactly.
And they didn't have COVID to blame.
That's right. I remember being in a urinal at the United Center and listening to a fan saying, if this shit keeps up, I am going to turn in my season tickets. And it did. I don't know whatever happened to the guy, but it was a terrible, terrible dry spell. And I'm worried that the Blackhawks are going to go back into that kind of thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Rocky Wirtz had a chance to become one of the great owners. He really did. And then John McDonough, who I love. I like John. John's a guy that doesn't forget. When he said that we got a better chance of making the playoffs, we're going to make the playoffs with the new guy, Colleton, I just shook my head. You just got rid of the most successful maybe head coach in NHL history, who's won 3 cups for you. Mm-hmm. And I had to sit and listen to all those suits tell me what Jeremy – and then I talked to my buddies. A couple of them are diehard fans, like Bear fans. You know, I think we're going to win everything. Oh, this was needed. What? I don't know whatever happened. I heard rumors and everything else. We don't know what happened to Jonathan Taves. I mean, we don't know anything about the Blackhawks, except they made a bad mistake. And Kane's not getting any younger, but I love him. They're at the Brinket. I love him. Their goaltending needs to improve. Their defense is shoddy. Careless. Their head coach, I don't think, is worthy.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. I mean, it just sort of reminded me of Wannstedt and Ditka, although Quenneville was more successful. And what did he get for it? Now he's with Florida. Okay. With Dale Talon. Mm-hmm. I mean, bottom line. I mean, so it was a bad deal. It's one of the worst unfair deals I've ever seen. And I don't want to hear speculation. Tell me what actually happened before you tell me, well, he got in an argument, or there was a problem here, or, he didn't want to listen there. I don't want to hear that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This was as bad as Wannstedt coming in for Ditka, if not worse.
I'm so with you on your evaluation of the Blackhawks. I could not have said it any better. This franchise is at a crossroads. I think, they could lose a lot of fans over the next few years if they don't correct some things.
Oh, you know what? I love watching hockey. I love betting hockey. Mm-hmm. I start watching these guys when I bet them. I know the good teams and bad teams. When you bet, you see everything. I know the teams with the good goaltenders. We don't have many. Mm-hmm. Our goaltending stinks, I think. Kane is unbelievable. You learn the players. I think it's going from the coaching. I don't think he commands the room. Mm-hmm. And then you lose Taves. That was huge. We still don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, we got a cure for COVID before we're going to find out what's wrong with Jonathan Taves.
What do you think about that, Mike? Do you think that the fans have a right to know when a player has some kind of an issue like that? In his case, it's an illness and not an injury. But even injuries, they say lower body injury, upper body injury. They don't give anything specific. Do you think fans deserve the right? I sort of do, especially now in the gambling age.
They deserve the right to know you're a public figure and you play sports. Mm-hmm. That's the way it goes. Mm-hmm. But the get-along gang that covers these teams will be in trouble. We don't want this leaking out. Okay, I'm a journalist. I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. And then they wonder why the newspapers are 30 pages deep now instead of like 70.
It's sad.
They wonder why you give the Chicago Tribune is in trouble to the point where you need the Chicago Sun-Times to actually beg people to help the Chicago Tribune. Mm-hmm. I'll manage the Chicago Tribune tomorrow, and I'll make it number one again because you're going to get 2 points of view. You're not going to get 1 point of view. You're not going to get blue. You're not going to get red. You're going to get both. And then you make your decision. And if I think a guy's president, worthy of being president, mm-hmm. or I think somebody else is worthy of being president, I'll endorse it. I won't sit out. You lose respect for people like that. You actually had the Chicago Tribune sit out for an endorsement because they didn't want to either endorse Trump, okay, or go against mm-hmm. who he ran against. Mm-hmm. Biden. That's cowardice. And people will not buy a paper like that.
Right.
You make me in charge of the Tribune tomorrow, I'll put you in the black. I don't have the money to buy the Tribune, but if I did, I'd buy it. And I'd fire half the damn reporters that work for it. And I'd hire new reporters. And then I'd bring in more advertising. And I'd get the sales staff off their lazy asses. And I'd quit depending solely on the internet and bragging about it. That's what I would do. Because I've done this before. Okay? So when you tell me you don't know that. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It happened in 92. Yes, I do. I know what works. Jiggets and North. Polar opposites. No brainer. Now, hey, I like that guy. Me too. Hey, that's a great team. It sure is. And then I'd tell the reporters, I'd have your back. I'd have your back. Mm-hmm. Say whatever you want. If you got a criticism of the Bulls, if you got a criticism of Lori Lightfoot, I got your back, John Cass. Just like I got your back.
Clarence Page.
Clarence. Mary Mitchell. Mm-hmm. I got their backs. It's your opinion. But if you only get one opinion, your pages dwindle. Your ads dwindle. And there's college graduates that run these institutions. And then you see the same guys like Jim Kirk jump from one paper to the next because it's owned by a massive company. And all the papers don't do that well. Mm-hmm. You want to see who wrecked the newspaper business? Look at the reporters that worked there for 20 years. Look at the people that managed these papers over 20 years. And don't blame the internet because the Chicago Tribune could be dominant again. But they decided they didn't want to be dominant again. It's on them, period.
There you go. Beautiful rant there.
Head rush. Hold on. Oh, wait. These are staples. I thought it was something else. Okay. No, seriously, man. You got to have 2 points of view. Oh, he's a good guy. He sure is. He's a bad guy. Sure. We see it with Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Shows, callers, everybody agrees. Not one dissenting voice sometimes. It's amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't know when it comes to newspaper that you had a very successful career as a newspaper columnist here in Chicago, right?
I sold, listen to this. I walked into the Sun-Times. I told them, give me a page. Well, you can't work as a reporter or a comment. I go, give me a page. Then I designed the page where the ads were outside, like a hockey rink. My column with me and Jiggs was inside. I won't tell you how much we sold because we both made a ton of money. Mm-hmm. The column was great. You got pro and con with Jiggets and North. Made a ton of money. Okay? And you know what? They don't make that money no more from us. Mm-hmm. Because they wanted, they wanted to change the cut. Because I got 50% at the beginning. This is what happened, folks. I don't even think the same people are there. They wanted them to go to 70. I go, kiss my ass, and I walked away. But I made more money. Rick Tellender couldn't sell his page. For how much? How much? How much could half of those guys sell their pages for? We'll give you a page. They'd starve. they'd starve. We didn't. We made great money, and Dan will tell you that. It worked out good. I designed it like that. We had Rosemont. We had I got Portillo's. He didn't do it with anybody. He goes, Mike, I'm in. You sold hot dogs. You know what it's about.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Boom. I showed them how to do it. They don't do it.
All right. It is now time for you to show us how to win some money, because it is. I love it when you do that.
Tribune's got so much potential. They just need somebody that knows what they're doing. And that's going to crack some skulls. And if somebody gets on the reporters' asses, it shouldn't be the bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Your score made it because you had a guy that had your back in the corner office.
There you go.
All right, now. I don't have to work out today. Hey, how about this?
Yeah,
I wore this shirt 25 years ago. Fits perfectly.
Yeah. What does Hounds mean? Is that there's
it was. Look at the back. Wait a minute. Let's see if you can see it. It was sponsored by.
Oh, Baby's Hot Dogs. Nice.
Oh, this damn shirt is. We had basketball, football, softball. Kicked everybody's butt.
How cool is that? You sponsored
that
a
one
lot.
Was cool. I sponsored, but I was on the teams, and we won team. It was great. Are you ready?
I want to do this next week. Next week, we're going to talk, because this is softball season. Next week, we're going to talk in depth about your softball baseball career.
I'll tell you about all the softball players that are still out there, some of them.
Yeah.
Because they got rid of my high school league that I put in years ago, the Chicago Public Schools. So we could talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that next week. All right, let's get your pick, because I know you got to go to your other job.
I'm fine.
Okay. What do you got for us today?
Okay, Aldo, we got one game, and it's an early game. We won last week, folks.
Yes, we did.
Okay, we got it done last week. We're going to do it again today.
Thank you for that, Mike.
You're welcome, my friend. And here's my deal. Well, it's good to give the boss a little wet his beak every so often. You won that game. You won both sides of that, I think.
I did. Yes, I did.
I think we went 2-0. I took the team and the under. I forgot what it was. I make 1,000 picks a week.
I know
I didn't know we won. I remember putting the tweet out. Because if we didn't, I wouldn't have remembered putting the tweet out. Okay, you ready? This is a 12:40 start, my friend.
Okay, 12:40, everybody.
Cardinals versus Brewers. Ooh. Yelich hurt. Jack Flaherty. What a year this guy's having for the Cardinals. He's 6-0, 2.83 ERA, 42 strikeouts, okay? He tossed 7 scoreless innings his last outing. He also hit a homer. So this guy's a monster. Against Corbin Burns. Now he's coming back. He's 2-2. 1.53 ERA, but he returns after 2 weeks on the IL with an injury designation, like you were just talking about. Right. Who knows? He might have had the swine. He might have had who knows? He might have had the rickets. He might have had rickets. I mean, who knows?
Lyme disease.
Lyme disease. Or yeah. He has. This kid's a stud. He has 49 strikeouts and no walks this season. How about that? 49. He's 2-2, 1.53 ERA. Take Milwaukee in this game to beat Flaherty for his first one, my friend.
All right. You heard it, and you already heard it here only on the Mike North Advantage, brought to us by the great folks over at WinDailySports.com. And make sure you follow them on Twitter at WinDailySports, and make sure you follow Mike on Twitter at North to North. He is one of the most entertaining Twitterers in the globe. I
tell you, I criticized LeBron. I lost a couple 100 followers last night. Did that ever happen to you?
Yes, absolutely.
You say the Bears, if Elmo says the Bears suck, all of a sudden he's going, where'd everybody go?
Last year I said some unkind things about Matt Nagy, and all of a sudden people were like, I can't follow you anymore with tweets like that. And I'm like, what did I say?
Here, you know what I said yesterday? Well, listen, LeBron's not the only reason I lose followers. I'm not the most nicest guy in the world. But the nonsense that he sat out against the Knicks and played against Houston, come on.
Yeah. That is the
NBA is a mess too. We could do a show on the messes that these leagues are in almost every single damn time.
Yes, well, that's good. We'll talk about softball and we'll talk about the NBA because I totally agree with you. The NBA has some serious problems. For everybody who joined us live, thank you very, very much.
Yes.
And this show is now on demand on YouTube, so let people know to check it out on demand, and it'll also be available in our audio podcast.
We tweeted it out, didn't we? We tweeted it out?
Yes, we did. It is out there. So I didn't tag you, but if you scroll down.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I love you. We'll be back here
too,
next
buddy.
Thursday. Remember, we're now on Thursdays at 9:30 Central. And thank you all very much.